try and lift a bit of the doom and gloom and give you hope. Now, you may want to slag me off on this, right? And tell me, like, I saw some comment, Robbie's turned into Thai, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I want you, including you, Turkish, to take a little relaxation, yeah? Because I know you know what I mean? A bit of therapy, man. Calm down. Breathe. Have a deep breath, Turkish. I know you've been angry the past couple of weeks and stuff like that. Have a little deep breath, yeah? And listen to what I'm about to say. It ain't over yet, Turkish. Arsenal still can win this league. It's going to be tough. We haven't got off to a great start, but it ain't over yet. Yeah?
I think you might need therapy. I don't know why you're saying I need therapy. My inner demons are right. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You're the one holding, clogging things up there. Listen, I don't know how PTSD don't affect you, Rob. I'll be honest with you. And you learn your lessons with this ownership. You might need therapy. Curtis does therapy sessions on his channel. I'm going to book you in. I'm going to book you in.
Man, therapy sessions with Curtis. Jesus,
open up a slot.
You see that guy in action. Hey, listen. How can the league be over in November? Unless you're Southampton.
We know what we're up against. We know what we're up against.
Well, you think it's done?
It is done. We're going to roll out Raheem Sterling for crunch time in April. But we've been found out in our attack, Rob.
I get it, because everybody's expecting us to fly into this season, but we didn't actually start last season brilliantly either.
But we're down 4 points. If you look at the games last season, like for like game this season, where we lost Newcastle last season, we lost this season. So we didn't make any difference. That's a 0, right? In terms of we didn't get free. No change there. All in all, like for like fixtures, we're down 4 points. And we're already coming into a third of the season played, and we didn't win the league last year, Rob. So it was those games we looked back on last year, like Fulham and Villa, and said, well, these are the ones that cost us.
All right, but let me just say this now. Again, I'm spinning it on a positive, right? And I get why people are upset, but it's much harder games at the start of this season, and this needs to be taken into context. We had an easier start to the season last year, but these are factors. I've spoken for a long time, but these are factors.
Well, I mean, what do the kids say? Copium? Is that what they say these days? Because, listen, you are right. The fixtures in the first 5 games of the season, I looked at and I said, that's a difficult start. Aston Villa, Tottenham, Man City away. If we can get out of those with 13 points out of 15, we're good. And I think we got out of those good. We did. We didn't lose any of the first 5. We drew to Brighton. We drew to City. We won the other 3, including Aston Villa away. Then, after that was meant to be, here's a little run to pick up some points. And then we played newly promoted sides. We conceding silly goals. We're letting one of them back into it after being 2-0 up. These things set the league alight. These things, opposition's looking at it thinking, hold on. You know, our reputation can take 2 years to build, 3 years to build. And it can take 2-3 months to just gone. And the last 2 months of Arsenal's performance level, our fear factor is gone. So it doesn't matter the fixture list anymore, because best believe Nottingham Forest might think they can do something against us, or West Ham the next week, who have been terrible this season, might think this might be the game to kickstart our season. We ain't that. The only reason you're reading off Chelsea's next fixtures are because of us, because of how poor we've been this season. Because if we were doing what we should be doing, you would have stopped at Arsenal, Liverpool, City. It's because we're there with Chelsea, 4 points above United. I hear that's one of their worst starts, if not the worst start to a season. It's Rob, we are not winning the league this season, not just because of what I've seen now, but because when push comes to shove in March, April, May, if we do get back into this, which I don't think we will at this stage, if we do, March, April, May, who's going to fire us to the title? Kai Havertz, Leandro Trossard, Gabriel Martinelli. These men are going to fire us to the title.
Nearly did last year. I mean, maybe, maybe, and I do, listen, the one thing I've always stood with you on, right, is that we should have bought a striker. If you actually look back, and I know there's people in the chat, Robbie, you're delusional, you lost it, you this, you that. You don't want if I know it's fashionable, and I'm not saying this for you, Turkish, because I know how you are, but I know with some people it's fashionable to be negative and say we've got no chance of winning the league and Liverpool have won it already. How do you know Liverpool have won it already?
I think there's extremes on both sides, though, Rob.
Liverpool have got a great chance to win. Yeah, Liverpool have got a great chance of winning the league. Liverpool are the favourites right now to win the league. But let me just say this. This is another thing that when I was doing my research, I had a look at, right? After 20 games last season, yeah, Liverpool were 5 points after 20 games, not 11, 20 games. They were 5 points above Arsenal. 5 points. Liverpool favourites at one time to win the league. Go back and do your research. Go back and look at the league. Liverpool were playing really, really well and looking like they could win the league. Then all of a sudden, they lost to Palace at home. They lost to Everton. Remember that game? They lost to Everton. Right, all of a sudden, they started drawing games. Liverpool ended up finishing. I know we didn't win the league, but Liverpool ended up finishing 7 points behind Arsenal. And that was later in the season when we'd only, 20 games in, not 11. It is not a given that Liverpool have won the league. If you speak to Liverpool fans, they don't want to say at this stage that they're going to win the league. They know there's a long, long way to go. Long way to go. Of course, Arsenal have to get their act together. Of course. But I just feel that for people, I'm speaking to so many people and they're just like, it's done. And it ain't done. I'm not saying we're going to win it, but it ain't done. It's not done. I think when fans are this negative and they're just saying, it's done. It's not done. It's not done. Last year, when we lost to West Ham and we lost to Fulham, I remember when I saw Lee Judges, he says it's totally done. We got no chance. All right, we didn't win it in the end, but what do you mean we didn't have a chance? Because we finished, we run it to the last game. You know what I mean? It wasn't done until that last game finished. So I just feel that some fans are just being overly negative, right? Overly negative. Don't get me wrong. If we go and lose to Forest and we go and lose, then I get it. You're fully within your rights to say. But it's too early. It's too early in my books for people to say it's done.
Yeah, but again, Rob, last season, it was done after those games because that was the last. Listen, you can lose to Aston Villa away. Obviously that one hurt in the end because it was the final nail in our season. But that's a game that you can lose. Man City have lost it, so you can. But we look back at the season, we didn't beat Fulham over 2 games, Aston Villa over 2, where in the first 45 minutes we should have been 2 up. There's that West Ham game in there as well. These are the games we messed about in. I know a lot of people like to look at that one loss in the last 19 or whatever it was. But the reality is, I think you said Lee Judges. Lee Judges was right after West Ham saying it's done because we didn't catch up. And we know who we're dealing with, Rob. We're dealing with a team. It's not like at the end of the season, we said, they're lucky they won their last 13. They're not lucky because they do it every year. They dominate. They go on a 15-game unbeaten streak. And, we can't turn around and say, well, I didn't know they're going to do that. We did know they're going to do that. Like this season, we have to expect that they or Liverpool will go on and do that. And we've already dropped points where we now need to do that and hope that neither of them do it. When both of them have shown they can do it as much as we can do it.
But would you agree with me that we've had a way harder start than those two? Based off the facts that I've given you, would you agree that we've had a much harder start than Liverpool and Manchester City?
Have our fixtures been more difficult than Liverpool, Man City? Yeah, off the top of my head from what you said, yeah.
Yeah, so we've had a much harder start. On top of that, you add into the fact that we've had a lot of injuries, and thankfully, a lot of those players seem to be coming back now. Obviously, the Ben White thing, but we've got Odegaard back and that. It puts us in a better position now to go on some sort of run.